Welcome to the Mystery School transmission number 1. We are talking about activating your channel. I want to dive right in. So in this transmission, we are focusing on your gifts. We're focusing on the mastery of your gifts and holding your gifts with full conscious awareness. Not only that, but cultivating your conscious application of your gifts. So I'm going to start by saying that people who are drawn, women who are drawn to my work, to my teachings, to the frequency that I hold, they are special. You are special. And what I mean by special is you have your own gifts. In fact, you are the only one who has the gifts that are uniquely yours. But there's also something that we have in common. And it is this inability to ignore the gifts that you came here to hold, to use, and to impact the world with. I'm going to share a little bit of my story with my gifts, with my abilities, with my spiritual treasures, and how at first they felt very much like a curse versus something positive. I've only known myself as someone who has these gifts my entire life. Even though I couldn't separate them and give them a name or tell them as something that can be called a gift, I've always had this. You've always had this. And at first, early in my life, throughout my childhood, I was fortunate to grow up in a family where I was allowed to express myself and I was allowed to be me. So there was no reason for me to think that anything was really all that different about me. I didn't have a reason to feel that the gifts were something that made me different. And so early in my life, my gifts were just part of who I am. But as I grew older, as I became a teenager, and even before that, when I went to school, and more so even going to school in a religious environment, I came to a striking realization that this wasn't normal. This wasn't common. And these gifts, they made me an outsider. They made me someone that my peers, my teachers, other people around me, perhaps it wasn't feared. I wasn't so much feared, but I was seen as different. And this gave me a realization that perhaps it's not safe to be myself. Perhaps these gifts were creating a problem for me. I really wanted to be successful in life, and an ability to achieve great things in life. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to have a community where I could be part of something. I didn't want to be an outsider. I didn't want to be a weirdo. I didn't want to be seen as different. And the gifts, they were coming through. So this isn't something that I could just turn off, I realized. I had visions. I had a knowing of people. I had an awareness of people's innermost thoughts, desires, and things that were meant to perhaps be private. I could very much sense that. I had awareness of certain events occurring before they ever took place. And when I shared some of these things, when I told a person something about themselves that they never shared with me, but I could just see, when I told a priest who was part of the school that I was attending, a Christian Orthodox priest, when I told them that I saw an event taking place before it occurred, and it then occurred, and how scared I was, how strange it was. I felt like I could trust this guide, this appointed authority on spiritual matters. I told, hey, you know what, I saw this and it's happening, and I'm like 8 years old, and I don't know what to do with this. The priest told me, this is of the devil. This is bad. This is bad. You're going to hell if you keep at it. Keep at what? I didn't ask for the vision. I was scared. It made me feel so bad about myself. It made me feel like I didn't even ask for this. When I told my peers that I could really see what's going on in their family life, and they've never shared this with me. Like, I feel your pain. I think this is, you have to be strong. Instead of, feeling seen, my peer was freaked out. Like, what's wrong with you? This is insane. No, that you can't know this. This isn't. And so I felt very isolated because of my gifts, because of my inner world, because of my ability to have access to something that resulted in fear from other people. Fear of me. Something that made me feel scary to others, while I myself was afraid of the very thing that was making me this way. The more it happened, the more afraid of it I became. And the more resentment I felt towards the very nature that was mine. And so I set out on a mission to be as normal as possible. I thought to myself, I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to be a freak. I don't want to scare people. I don't want to be seeing these things that people don't want me to know. I don't want to be having visions about scary things happening before they happen. And I don't want to have this world that makes me an outsider. Beyond that, I would have conversations with adults as a child. And somehow these grown-ups, they were shocked because I knew what no child could know. No, we're not talking about something salacious here. We're talking about wisdom that a little girl has not lived enough life to know. And yet I knew, not experientially, but through something else. I had access to something else. And that something else gave me knowledge that I wasn't supposed to have, wisdom that I wasn't old enough to possess, and awareness of truth beyond what I could observe with my senses. The world around me was just a layer, and beyond that layer, I saw so much more. So on my mission to become as normal as possible, I locked my gifts away, or so I thought. I decided I'm going to shove it all the way down. I don't want this. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why it comes to me, but I'm over it. I desired normalcy. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be successful according to what successful was defined as by other people. On this mission to become as normal as possible, I became a calculating machine. I observed with everything I had what other people liked, what other people favored, what was popular, what was approved of, what was celebrated. And I want to ask you something. Have you felt this way before in your life? Where you had this realization, like, it would be so much easier if I was just like everyone else. If I could just be normal, things would be so much easier. If I didn't have these things happening that I can't even quite explain, I could be so much happier. And this feeling is valid, because the mystic woman, the powerful woman, the sovereign woman, that's not a path where you can call yourself normal, where you can easily fit in. Because no matter how far you shove down your gifts, they are still there. So on my mission to become as normal as I can possibly be, and observing everything about other people, what they wanted, what they liked, what they approved of, what they celebrated, what they accepted, I became a mold that I started shaping. I was learning how to be an actress. I was playing a role every single day, and my goal was to become the best actress I could ever be, so that the Grammy Award for the most normal person could go to me, so that I could be part of the society in every way that is approved of. Fast forward into my early 20s. Some things started going wrong. I was drawn to addictions. I really wanted to lose myself, but I couldn't quite articulate it. It wasn't a conscious thought like, oh, I want to lose myself. It was like, no, I'm normal. Everything's great. I built this life. I'm normal. I got my achievements. I got this, and people kind of like me, I think. So I'm just living my life. But every opportunity I got, whether it was substances or computer games or addictive patterns or something I could just lose myself in, I grabbed it and I held on to it. I didn't understand why. I told people, yeah, oh, I have addictive personality. I don't know, that's just, I like adrenaline, but no. Because when I would lose myself, the gifts would erupt. And when I was sober again, when I was conscious again, when I was self-aware again, I could externalize it and say, oh, I was just drunk. That's not me. Oh, I was just high. It's not me. Oh, I just really got into it. That's not really me. So the gifts were there still, of course. But now the outlet for them was something I could separate from myself. I'll give you an example. I would go to a bar and I would drink a lot. And I would come up to a random person. And I had all these suppressed gifts that I've kept shoving down over and over and over again. It would just erupt. And I would come up to a stranger and I would tell them everything about themselves. And it was shocking. People that experienced that side of me, they were shocked. They didn't ask for this. They didn't give me permission. And I just needed an outlet. But I couldn't even accept that. I couldn't even accept that it's my gifts needing to get out. No, I said I was just drunk. But what I channeled, what I saw, what I said, it was true. And once again, these were things that no one has ever shared with me. My vision, my ability to read people, my ability to see beyond what is seen, it was gaining momentum. The gifts were growing, but I wasn't holding space for them. In fact, I still denied them. There was a moment when I was driving a car on my way to a work event after work, and I was making a turn and I miscalculated. It seemed like the car that was, so I'm here and trying to make this turn, and there's traffic going this way. The car that was going this way, I was going kind of slow. So I was like, I have room to make this turn. And I start making the turn, and the car that's going this way, it's accelerating. And I look in a split second and I see that the driver of that car, they don't see me turning. The reason they're accelerating is that the person driving is on their phone. So they're not seeing me. And I'm already mid-turn. And even if I accelerate, I'm not gonna make it. I'm about to get T-boned into the driver's seat. I'm about to get hit by the other driver. I'm driving a sedan, small car. They're driving an SUV. And in that moment, something happened. In that moment, I was ready to go. I was ready to transition. I did not think I'd survive the crash. And in that moment, I said, okay. And I felt relief. I was 23 years old. I was unharmed. I did get into an accident. It was bad. My car was totaled. But by a miracle, I didn't have a scratch on my body. I was shocked. I went out drinking again that night. I was just, people were like, oh my gosh, how did you survive? And I'm just like, pour me another shot. The next day I was ready to go to work, but something was off. I couldn't stop crying. I was so sad, so depressed. And I thought, why? I mean, it's shock, yeah. Maybe a little PTSD there from the crash, but I'm okay. I should be grateful. I made it. Like, this is a miracle. I shouldn't be depressed. So I started asking myself, like, what am I depressed about? Like, what's the reason I'm so depressed? Like, I made it. I'm alive. I'm not even harmed. What's the reason? And when I really sat with myself, the reason shocked me more than the crash. Because I realized I was sad that I didn't die. And this was, I couldn't make any sense of it. Like, I'm 23. I have a whole life ahead of me. I'm like just getting started. Like, I'm healthy, everything's fine. Like, what? Why? And then something clicked, and I realized I don't even know who I am. I'm living a fake life. I might as well be dead. Because I'm not even myself. There's just emptiness. There's nothing. No substance. Who am I? This normal person living a fake life, the best actress playing a role. But who is playing the role? Who is behind this person that I've created? That is not even real. And so I started looking at, like, what do I seek? Validation. All in the name of validation. Just to be liked. Just to be approved of. Just to be validated. And I asked myself, like, what do I get from the validation? Because I was getting it all the time. I was liked. I got the reactions that I wanted from people. I was accepted. I was approved of. I knew how to play the role because I made it my life's mission to become the best actress. So I was acting every single day of my life. And when I was with myself, just alone, there was emptiness. So what did I get from that validation? And I realized nothing. In fact, the more validation I got, the more validation I wanted. It was feeding this bottomless, empty pit inside of me, like water down the drain. No substance, no essence, nothing. And so, of course, I didn't care if I lived or died. In fact, probably the end to all of this would be somewhat of a relief. Or at least it wouldn't make much of a difference. Not to me. So I had a revelation. It's time I find myself. It's time I remember who I am. Now, this wasn't just one accident. There were many more things that happened over a span of a year. Lots of events that were traumatizing. They call it the dark night of the soul. You may have experienced it, where things around your life are falling and crashing and burning, and there's nothing to hold on to. Everything had to go. Every aspect of my role. Every aspect of the fake self that I've created to be normal, to be liked, all of that was taken away from me. And what was left? What was left? I had to ask, what did I give up to build this? And the answer was, I gave up my gifts. But you can't really give up your gifts. It was time to remember my gifts. This transmission is titled Activate Your Channel. I believe that every single human being is capable of channeling or accessing higher truth, higher awareness through their inner self, through their soul, through their spirit. There are different names for this, but your essence, your living essence, your innermost truth of your being. Through that, you can access higher wisdom. But in addition to that, I also believe that women have intuitive gifts that are superior and supreme in their nature. These gifts are connected to our womb. Our womb is a portal. I'm not talking about giving birth to babies, although that's the most known function of a womb. However, a womb is not just something that's part of you. It's something that you hold. It is a portal of creation. It is a portal of life. A womb is capable of shaping life itself, but it is also capable of protecting life. It is also capable of inner mysteries, sacred knowledge, profound spiritual gifts. Women's spirituality has been suppressed for a very, very long time, going back to the origins of humanity, because the spiritual gifts of women are so incredibly powerful. That power that creates worlds, it is ours. And that power, it's quite tremendous. So if we don't have access to it, if we deny it, if we don't know how to hold it, it is very convenient that we become so subdued, so controlled, kept down. And it's part of my mission to help women learn not to fear their power. Now, my journey, it took me on the path of exploring my gifts and studying my gifts. I've learned several tools over years. One of them is working with tarot. Another one is working with my channel. And yet another one is being an oracle. We're going to talk a little bit about holding your channel. Fast forward a few years after that incident, after my dark night of the soul, I've devoted myself to mastering my gifts, despite all odds. Like, no matter what was going on. If my business wasn't working, I focused on my gifts. My business was working, I focused on my gifts. My relationships were falling apart, I focused on my gifts. My relationships were going great, I focused on my gifts. It was the forefront of my purpose, is to remember myself and to prioritize that which I subdued for my entire life prior. I got to a place where my channel was something that I could call on at any moment. And there was a test. There was a turn of events where I was in a romantic relationship with a partner that I married. And our relationship was falling apart. It became very, very toxic. And there's no one to blame for that specifically, because we became toxic to each other. It was horrible. And in the middle of that, I could call on my channel, no matter how I felt. And so I led an event similar to this one, and it was called Just Channel. Perhaps some of you here may remember this, because I know some of you have been part of my world for quite a while. And in this event, I taught people, women, how to channel. So I'm going to do here exactly what I did then. Your channel is something that you get to access no matter what. Your channel is something that you get to trust no matter what. No matter how you're feeling, no matter what your human experience is at any given point, your channel is always accessible to you. In the most dire circumstances, or at the peak of your joy, your channel is available to you. This is something that gets to be cultivated. You get to access your channel, and the more you do, the more easy it becomes to step into it. I'm going to give you a couple of exercises to activate your channel. The easiest one is through writing. Now, the format of your writing doesn't matter, whether it's handwriting, which I prefer personally, but doesn't really make a difference, or if it's typing up on a device, or if it's not even writing, but it's a voice recording. Your voice is incredibly powerful. Your words are incredibly powerful, but beyond the power of your conscious use of your voice and your words, your channel can come through your throat chakra, which is associated with both writing and speaking. So, how do you access your channel? You gather yourself at any point, no preparation required, no matter how you feel. You take out your recording device or your notebook or whatever you're going to use to write. You clear your mind. And sometimes the thoughts will still hang around, but you set an intention of, my mind is empty. I am open to receive. And what you do next is, without any intention of trying to interpret what's coming through and why, what it means, without any attempts to judge what is coming through, you begin putting out whatever comes through. You invoke your channel by telling yourself, telling your mind, my mind is clear, I am open to receive. This is very simple. There is no smoke and mirrors. There is no fancy ritual to set some kind of something in motion. There is no need for theatrics. Now, when we talk of ritual practices, that's something a little different. And aesthetics are important in rituals, but this is not what we're talking about now. We're talking about your channel. Your channel is with you 24/7. All you need to desire is truth. But one condition is not to judge it, not to interpret it, not to try and make it make sense while it's happening. You can analyze it later. You can bring your conscious mind, your thinking mind, and read it or listen to it and contemplate, like, does this make sense? What does this apply to? What's the meaning? What's the wisdom? This is really good, actually. But you do that after the channel. So 3 steps. Step 1, get something to write with, a recorder to speak into, or whatever device you're going to use to type the things up. Maybe a typewriter, or maybe something a little more modern, whatever works for you. You get one of these things ready. Step 2, you tell yourself out loud or quietly, my mind is clear. I am open to receive. And then, step 3 is you start. Remember, don't try to interpret it. Don't try to judge it. Don't try to make it make sense. Keep the mind clear. That means you're not thinking. You are being an instrument to your channel. Now, the more you practice this, there is a side effect to holding space and directing your channel, or rather directing yourself to be a vessel to your channel. The side effect is increased levels of self-trust. When you get to experience the kind of power that your spirit holds, the kind of power that belongs to you on the level of your innermost self at all times, whatever you're going through on the human consciousness level. And there's plenty of things that we go through day to day. There's emotions, there's physical experiences, pleasure or pain. There's thoughts and mental loops and thinking patterns. There's behaviors, there's habits. We have so much going on as human beings at all times. Tired, elevated, frustrated, sleepy, annoyed, angry, excited, nervous. So many things. Sick, healthy, energized, depleted. So many states. And it's very hard to trust yourself. It's very hard to trust yourself because oftentimes whatever is going on with us on the human level, it doesn't really feel like you're in control because you really aren't. Your body has its own consciousness. Your mind has its own madness or chaos, rather. Your emotions can be triggered just like that. But your spirit is always solid, stable in its tremendous power and all-knowing wisdom that transcends the consciousness of your human being. And the more you access your spirit, the more you hold space for your channel, the more self-trust you gain. And it is not trust that's placed in circumstances. Like, oh, I trust myself when I'm happy. I trust myself when I have energy. I trust myself when I'm checking things off my list. That's conditional. That's conditional. And the moment you're not doing these things or feeling these things, it's like, okay, now I don't trust myself anymore because I'm a mess. Valid. valid. But your spirit, you can always trust your spirit. And the more you hold space for the channel, which again, very simple, 3 steps. You don't need a ritual. You don't need to be in a special place. You don't need to be feeling good or bad. You may be feeling like the worst. You may be having the most emotional experience. You could be devastated or just super tired, or you don't even feel like you have energy, and still your channel is accessible to you. Just the same as in any other occasion. It is unconditional. And what it creates as a byproduct is unconditional self-trust. Trust in yourself. That is always, always, always with you. Now, the more you practice it, the more you feel the essence of your spirit speaking through you, the more you're able to hold space for it and not interfere, not try to judge it, interpret it, put all these filters on it. The more you are just allowing it to come through, and you create space, no matter what, for it to come through. The more you take that spiritual presence of yourself, and the more you're able to place it in the driver's seat. And as you need, do so that your human can just relax in the back of that vehicle, knowing that it's being taken right where it needs to be, no matter what's seemingly going on. That self-trust, it's the most powerful thing. And what can interfere with it? Conditions, programming, people telling you should believe this, you don't need to do this, you need to do that. Be like this, be like that, do this, do that. And so all of the stuff that is vying for you to give it your power, the less it has effect on you. You hear something triggering, you see something that's going on, someone comes in and tells you something, and because of that cultivated unconditional trust in yourself, you're able to say, okay, no, I will not participate in this. I will not engage with this. I will not react or respond to this. I will instead be open to receive my truth from myself. This is intimidating to the systems and the conditional conscious environments created by other human beings. This is intimidating because nothing can throw you off. Nothing can shake you. Nothing can take that power away from you, because it is your power. It is your self. It is your wisdom, your truth, and it's coming from within. Mary Magdalene taught that God is not out there. God is... She didn't even say anything. There's an image where it's like God is not out there, and the image of Mary Magdalene going like, that's God. That is God. Not out there. Not coming through other people. Not being given to you by some initiate, some priest, someone else, by some organization or guru. No. God is. But you have to allow this consciousness of God, of yourself, your innermost wisdom and truth. You have to hold space for it to come through, and you have to develop a relationship with it as a human. your relationship with your channel is not mental. You're not coming up with stuff. You're not thinking stuff. You're not forcing stuff. You're not pulling stuff out of somewhere else. You are a vessel. You are a channel. You are a host to the Holy Spirit that is your self. And so all you need to do is to gather yourself in a place, no matter what's going on or how you're feeling. Literally, no matter what. And then have something to capture what you're channeling, so you don't have to think about remembering it or what did it say or what so you don't have to even think whatsoever. Whether you're using a voice recorder or something to write with, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it looks. There needs to be no judgment, no thought involved. It is simply receiving and documenting. No thought. Just allowing, receiving, documenting. That's it. You can do it no matter what, no matter when, no matter where, no matter what's going on. And there's no one that can take that power away from you. And there's nothing that you can do to get rid of that power, because it is your birthright. So I want you to give this a shot. Even if you've channeled before, try it again. Do this. Do this today. Just for yourself. There needs to be no ritual. You don't need to light a candle and set up the thing. No, just after we finish this live stream, or if you're watching a recording, grab a journal, grab a voice recorder, or grab your phone or computer, whatever it is. Tell yourself, my mind is clear. I'm open to receive. And capture whatever comes through. Don't think about it. Don't try to make it make sense. Don't analyze it. Don't judge it. Do it. And then step away. And you can revisit it afterwards. But just experience it. This is yours. You can do this. You don't need any training. No special nothing. This is always available to you, no matter what is happening. And today is no exception. In fact, if anything, today is the right space and the right time to anchor in the initiation that you're initiating yourself into in this space through practice. Favor this by action. There is something as well that I want to discuss here. There is a more conscious way to work with your gifts. A more mental way, actually. A way where you're not channeling through yourself directly, which is your birthright, by the way, but a way that's more of a practice, where you get to contemplate the message as it's coming through, where you're not just calling on your channel and being a vessel for it, but rather it's a two-way street, a conversation, if you will, where you are able to ask a question and consciously ask for something, ask for an answer, or bring up something that you would like some illumination on. So your mind is very much active. You're bringing this, like, I would like to look at this area of my life, or I would like to sit with this issue, or I would like to address this emotion, or I would like to heal something within myself, and I would like to know the next step. This is a two-way street. It's a question and an answer. And this is what happens when you work as an oracle. This is a conscious process where your mind is very much active. And this is something that works really well with specific tools. These tools are known as divination tools. Divination means communicating with divine, versus being a channel, mindless in the moment, clear mind, open channel, open to receive. You're fully present as a human, and you're asking a question, and you're getting an answer. So this is something that I would love to invite you to join me. A journey of becoming Master Oracle. There is a process that I've mastered over years of practice and refinement. Mastered not only for myself, but mastered in a way that I can teach and lead so that others may become master oracles themselves. So in the space of the mystery school, I want to give you an opportunity to join me on the journey of becoming a master oracle. This is a 3-month-long experience. During this experience, I will teach you the process of working with any divination tools. Cards, of course, are go-to, but there is a variety of divination tools that is available. And on this journey, over the period of 3 months, you will be in a container with me where I will hold you accountable to continuously practicing this, refining your process, and stepping into the mastery of your oracle capabilities. This does take practice, and it is something that can be added to the arsenal of tools, a medicine case that you get to use for yourself, on yourself, for the rest of your life. But of course, in addition to being of service to you, this is a great way to serve others. And not everyone is called to master oracle. Not everyone is called to take on this mastery. There are many people who are looking for a solution, a communication, a way to connect with their own self, but they're not quite called onto the spiritual path. They're on their own path, but they're looking for the medicine, and yet it's not their purpose to master the medicine tools. You get to be the master, and you get to administer the medicine to them as a master oracle. And this is a great service. This is a great service to humanity. Now, I want to make a distinction here. I do not practice nor teach fortune telling. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in Writing Your Destiny, okay? Because I believe that destiny is something that we get to co-create. I do not think any human being has the power to predict your future. That's giving all of your power away. And that's not really the way that it works. Okay, so this isn't what I practice or teach. And this isn't the medicine. having someone read a future on the side of the road or in the shop somewhere. It's an easy fix. It's just like the cults or the gurus. It's like, here, take my power away. Tell me what's going to happen to me so I don't have to do anything else or grow or evolve. I just know the future, and then I can just be like, okay, well, I guess I'm unlucky. It's just, it's an easy way out, and in the reality, it's really not. This is what keeps us from evolving, patterns like this. So no, you won't learn how to be a fortune teller. But what you will learn is how to master Oracle, how to be the master Oracle, how to master divination through a methodology that is perfection. Truly, I've put so much of my heart and soul into developing this methodology in the way that it can be taught. And I want to teach you, and I want to take you on this journey. And I want to hold this space for you where you are held accountable for developing this master craft for 3 months with me. This opportunity is one-on-one, okay? And the energetic exchange for it is $321 for 3 months total. You can break it down into 3 payments of 1, 2, 3 per month. If you feel cold, this is a beautiful way to master your ability to hone your gift and to refine it in a way that gets to be of service to yourself for the rest of your life, as well as the medicine that, if you choose, you get to administer to others in service to humanity and to other people who may not be on the path of becoming the master of the medicine, who in fact only need the medicine administered to them at a point in their life. There is something as well that is going to be available in the mystery school. This is something that's going to be gradually revealed through the rest of this experience. There is a master key that includes everything I'm going to be talking about. And it's a 1-year-long journey with me. And it includes something very, very special as well. So more to come on this. But the master key is 888. I am so grateful for all of you here. And I'm so very excited for the next transmission that will begin in an hour from now. Christina asked, how long is the offer at this rate? So the offers that are presented here, they will expire on August 15th. Okay, so a week from now. So there's this space, there's going to be a week. You get to watch all the transmissions, maybe revisit them again. There's going to be an email. I'm going to send you all the details. But if some things that I speak of, you resonate with, and you're like, ooh, you know what, maybe that's something I want to contemplate, you have a whole week to make an informed decision. Something I want to add as well, I'm not sure if you are familiar with human design. It's not something that is for everyone. The reason I bring it up is personally in human design, I have what is known as emotional authority. And what that implies is there is sometimes a wave that I'm on, an emotional wave that it's like, oof, you know, everything's feeling exciting or everything's feeling not so exciting. And I don't like to make decisions in my waves. I have to wait the wave out. So whenever someone is presenting opportunities and it's like, do this now or it's gone. And there's pressure, like to me, to my nervous system, it's like an immediate, like, no, 100% no, thank you. That's not for me. So whenever I present certain opportunities to dive deeper with me, there's never that kind of shocking, like do this or you'll miss out. You know, that's not part of the medicine that I bring to the world. So yeah, so if something resonates, like for example, spending 3 months with me specifically working on mastering the ability to be an oracle, refining this craft, if that's something that resonates, you get to contemplate this. You have time. The time will be limited to a week from now, but there's plenty of time. For me, that is definitely long enough to come to my conscious awareness and make a decision from an informed place. So yes, okay. I hope that answers your question. I am looking forward to the next transmission. The next transmission we will have is Design Your Future. And this is where we're going to talk about psychic ethics. Yes, it's a thing. Well, maybe not everyone thinks it's a thing, but I definitely do. So we're going to talk about designing your future and how that works. I'll see you in about an hour. And I can't wait already. So, okay, I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.